Church bells in Bohol tolled this morning as the province remembered last year's powerful quake that reduced historic structures to rubble and traumatized residents. Miguel Ortilla gives us the latest from Tagbilaran City. Hi, Miggy.
Yes, Mai, today the nation commemorates what transpired in the magnitude 7.2 quake that hit Central Visayas last year. And you know, in times like these, you also can't help but look at what progress has already happened. Yesterday, we already reported to you delays experienced in rehabilitation. But today, apparently, the national government sees it as well. This day last year at 8:12 in the morning, time seemed to have stopped in this province. Today, Boholanos sounded off their church bells and emergency sirens to commemorate the 33 seconds that changed them. It's a holiday throughout Bohol on the anniversary of the magnitude 7.2 quake that hit Central Visayas.
For the forgiveness of sins, do this in memory of me.
The mood was sober but still festive in thanksgiving that they surpassed what many believe as Bohol's darkest days.
They remained faithful and committed to their faith, and that inspires me most.
Father Charlton Platorias has been a priest in Hong Kong for over 14 years. He's back in his hometown of Loon, one of the worst hit by the quake. He says his inspiration for missionary work mainly began in the historic Loon Church, which is now reduced to rubble. The church is one of those classified by the National Historic Commission as completely destroyed. It will be reconstructed after the rehabilitation of other damaged historic churches whose foundations are still intact. At the Baclayon Church, beams have been put up to support the facade and prevent it from totally falling apart. Also at the Taoist Church, which is now welcome to pilgrims.
The pervasive use of the internet has reduced the volume of traditional mail sent to post offices or through post offices, but despite the convenience technology offers, some still prefer sending more personal letters. More on this from Cecil Ardizabal.
An internet-savvy person himself, Bong spends most of his time in front of the computer for work-related activities or personal matters. Surprisingly, he still goes back to the traditional yet more personal way of communicating with his loved ones here and abroad, especially during the Christmas season.
Tito ko nasa Canada, sabi niya mas namimiss niya raw talaga yung may nagpapadala sa kanya ng mga greeting cards.
They say it's the personal touch that matters. That's what differentiates writing letters from sending messages online.
Mas maganda, may personal touch mo kasi talaga. Kumbaga nag-i-effort ka yun eh. Sa computer kasi you can edit eh. Ito yung parang ang problema mo sa writing kapag nagsusulat ka, kailangan diretso mo siyang masusulat. So siyempre you're avoiding erasures. So parang ang dating, you're writing coming from your heart, directly from your heart. So ganun siya.
But the so-called snail mail may have a long journey, together with 1,000 other letters, not knowing if it will arrive at its destination on time. Since 2010, data from the Philippine Postal Corporation show a sharp drop in delivered mails, both domestic and international. The post office handles hundreds of thousands of mails a day, including cards, letters, and packages. Authorities expect the volume to increase during the holidays. It is making announcements on the deadlines for Christmas mails and parcels to avoid the year-end rush. To reach the intended recipients on time, all holiday-related express mails coming from Mega Manila bound for domestic destinations should be mailed not later than December 15, while express mail items for abroad should be posted not later than December 14. The posting and acceptance of parcels and registered mails should not go beyond December 10. For international destination, it should be posted before December 1. Meanwhile, for all ordinary domestic mails, it should be mailed on or before December 11, while for international ordinary mails, the deadline is set on December 8. But for those who do not want any kind of hassle,
may phone na po tayo eh. Pwede natin kausapin by phone.
Kasi may internet na, pwede na kayo makausap mo. Personal, mape-personal mo na siya sa FB.
Mas mabilis, mas effective. Saka yung, halimbawa, geters na medyo may katagalan.
Cecil Ardizabal, 9 News.
Businessmen say the government should stick to its rules to entice more investors to join the public-private partnership program. This sentiment comes amid opposition to the rebidding of the Cavite-Laguna Expressway.
The European Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines initially found the implementation of the administration's public-private partnership program slow. ECCP Executive Vice Chairman Henry Schumacher says another problem they saw was the lack of projects. But he's pleased with how things are going today. More projects are being offered, and the government has found ways to fast-track processes involved. Now he says it's about ensuring that the government sticks to existing rules, not to mention the contracts it enters into.
A proposal that will last 20 or 25 years. And then you see that consistency is not there in policy. Then you see that rules are not adhered to. That's bad news.
The PPP Center admits it took a while before foreign investors felt confident enough to take part in the program, an initiative which seeks to get big-ticket infrastructure projects financed by the private sector in exchange for reasonable returns and other incentives. PPP Executive Director Cosette Canilao says they made sure to improve the process by boosting the capacities of implementing agencies through the hiring of consultants and transaction advisors, among others.
That's to be expected, especially for the earlier projects, because they're looking, testing, looking if the government is indeed committed to partner with the private sector.
Investor confidence in the PPP program, however, seems to hang in the balance as businessmen await the decision on a pending appeal filed by a disqualified bidder on the Cavite-Laguna Expressway project. The Optimal Infrastructure Development Incorporated, a subsidiary of San Miguel Corporation, has asked Malacanang to rebid the project after it was disqualified due to technicalities in the bidding process.
Technicalities make a huge difference. I mean, either you have rules that you implement or you do not. And in our minds, and a lot of business groups have spoken out about this, that it is very critical for the government to uphold its own rules so that its credibility is not subjected to question.
Asking for rebidding is bad news. I think it shakes basically investor confidence, because what we are looking for is consistency in policy.
President Aquino himself has expressed that he is inclined to have the project rebidded. Business groups are expected to come out with statements to show their opposition to the appeal. San Miguel earlier said it will respect whatever decision the president makes. Of the 57 projects offered by the PPP, only 8 have been awarded contracts. The PPP Center is eyeing to award a total of 15 projects before the president steps down. It assures the public that efforts continue to further improve the program.
We're going to issue policy guidelines to various implementing agencies on the best practices and on how to do PPP, a successful PPP. We need to come up with a standard contract, and that's what we're moving towards, a standard contract that would make it more predictable for the private sector.
The Makati Business Club says the national government should also look into local government's role in project implementation.
For example, sometimes local governments get in the way of national government projects. I think there is room for the national government to be more assertive in some of these projects.
Efforts to promote the PPP program could go to waste if the next administration fails to build up on what's been started. The PPP Center as well as the business community only hope the next leaders will recognize the importance of continuing the program. Ina Andulong, 9 News.